Look at a map of the world and you'll see about 195 independent nation-states, each with its own name. However, look more closely and you'll see some countries share the same name: Sudan and South Sudan, North and South Korea, Cyprus and Northern Cyprus. The reason for this is actually because these used to be one country, but they split apart. In fact, throughout history, countries splitting in two has happened many times. But why? Why would a single nation split into two countries? Well, let us explain. A first reason why countries split in two is because of internal conflicts. Many nations throughout history have faced internal armed violence. This is often why rebel groups take up arms to fight against the central state. Many armed groups fight for an independent nation of their own, and so wish to split the country into two or more parts. When they succeed, this can result in a country becoming divided. An example of a country that split in two because of internal armed violence is Sudan, which in 2011 split to become Sudan and South Sudan. Since gaining independence from Great Britain in 1956, rebels in South Sudan fought an internal conflict with the government of Sudan, partly so that they could form an independent state. After decades of conflict, they succeeded, and South Sudan officially split from Sudan. Armed violence and the success of internal rebellions is probably one of the most common reasons why nations split in two. A second reason why countries split in two is because of foreign intervention. Often countries that divide are weak states with a range of internal issues. As a result, they are often at risk of interference by strong foreign powers. In many cases, foreign entities have pushed for a country to be divided, often because they see the split as being in their own strategic interest. There have been several cases where other countries have taken military intervention in order to divide a country. This is a common reason why nations can become split. One example of a country that split in two because of foreign intervention is Cyprus. In 1974, Turkey invaded Cyprus under the pretense of protecting the Turkish community on the island. The eventual outcome of this conflict was the island becoming divided between the Republic of Cyprus and the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. Throughout history, and into the present day, there have been many instances where foreign powers have intervened in other nation-states. One outcome of these interventions can be the nation dividing into two or more new states. A third reason why nations can become divided is because of ethnic divisions. Many countries are made up of different ethnic groups. Often these groups coexist and nations are able to remain cohesive. However, if tensions between ethnic groups rise, coals can begin to divide the nation along ethnic lines. In some instances, armed violence arises as ethnic groups fight to form an independent state where they will no longer be a minority. There are many examples of countries splitting into two or more nations because of ethnic divisions. The breakup of Yugoslavia in the 1990s created the sovereign states of Slovenia, Croatia, Serbia, Montenegro, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Macedonia. These nations came about because of the deep ethnic divisions within Yugoslavia. Another example of a country becoming divided, although not officially splitting in two due to ethnic divisions, is Iraq. In 1992, the Northern Kurdish Regional Government was formed to protect the country's Kurdish minority. Today, it acts in many ways as a de facto independent state with a high degree of autonomy, although it is still formally part of the nation of Iraq. Another reason why countries split in two is because of religious differences. Religion plays a major role in the lives of billions of people around the world. It has also played a major historical role in how cultures, societies and nations have formed. However, religion can also cause divisions between peoples and communities. When religious tensions rise to boiling point, it can be a cause for a nation to become divided. Unless addressed, religious differences can be a major reason why a country splits in two. An example of a nation that split because of religious divides is Ireland. In 1922, the Irish Free State was formed when Ireland shifted from being essentially a British colony and became a de facto independent state within the British Empire. However, due to Ireland's divide between the Catholic majority and the Protestant minority in the north, 6 counties were split from the Irish Free State, and later the Republic of Ireland, and remained part of the United Kingdom. These came to form Northern Ireland, and as a result, split the island of Ireland between two countries. A further reason why countries split in two is because of cultural differences. Culture is defined as the arts and crafts that come from people's intellectual achievements. It can cover everything from film and television to the way people eat and dress, to customs around how people marry or how funerals are held. People's culture is incredibly important to them. When a nation has a deep cultural divide, often combined with a weak central state or cohesive national identity, tensions can arise. In extreme cases, cultural divisions can contribute to a nation splitting apart. Although there are a range of complex reasons why East Timor split from Indonesia in 2002, cultural differences could be seen to play a part. East Timor saw itself as a culturally distinct from Indonesia and saw becoming an independent country as one way to protect its unique culture. Cultural differences are rarely the main reason why a country splits in two, but they often play a significant role. One reason why countries split in two is because of linguistic differences. People's language is a major part of their identity. It also forms a key part of their community and their way of life. Many countries have multiple languages and manage to remain one single nation. However, when deep divides appear within a country, differences in the language people speak can be a spark that causes a nation to split in two. There are a couple of examples of countries that have either split in two or have nearly split due to linguistic divides. Cameroon is currently undergoing a conflict because the English-speaking minority want to break away and form an independent nation called Ambazonia to remove themselves from the French-speaking majority. Canada has had 2 referendums on Quebec independence, partly because the French minority want to break away. Neither of these referendums has been successful, though. Linguistic differences are usually not the only reason a country divides, but it can be a key underlying cause. A final reason why countries split in two is because of colonialism. From the 1500s to the second half of the 20th century, almost the entire world was conquered by European powers. They arbitrarily carved up territory between them, often with almost no regard for ethnic, religious, tribal or linguistic groups. When colonialism came to an end, many of the territories that European nations had formed became independent states. However, their deep divides caused by the arbitrary drawing of their boundaries by colonial powers, in some cases resulted in nations later splitting apart. Sudan is one example of a nation that was formed due to British colonialism and gained independence as a single nation, but later split into 2 countries, Sudan and South Sudan, due to the deep divisions within the country. The borders of Sudan were drawn up by the British without significant regard for the fact that an independent Sudan would have major differences within its population. This was one reason why Sudan later split into 2 countries. European colonialism had a major impact on almost every nation in the world. It is also one reason why some nations became divided.